Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivana Comoden. I'm a career coach and I work with people over the age of 40 who are seeking a career change. And today's video, I wanted to talk to you about career change and some of the things that you need to think about if you are determined to make a career change, especially if you're over 40. So one of the first things I wanted to really highlight as part of that is when people are thinking about a career change, sometimes we are forced into it. So sometimes we make a career change because we've lost our job, we've made redundant, or for some of us, we make a career change because we've been doing the same thing day in, day out. We're not getting any satisfaction from it. We're not getting any enjoyment from it. Or perhaps maybe due to a change of circumstance, we're moving house, we're moving to a different part of the country, or even moving countries. Whatever the reason, sometimes we are making a career change. And a lot of times what I find when I talk to women and men over the age of 40, a lot of the times I hear people say things like, well, I don't want to start doing the same thing I'm doing now, but I'm worried about making a career change because I'm of a certain age. What else is out there? What can I do? I don't have the skills. I can't afford to start from the bottom, and so on and so forth. And these are a lot of the things and barriers that hold people back from making a career change. So today's video, I'm really going to talk you through some of the three things that you really need to have in place if you're looking at making a successful career change, and also how to overcome some of those concerns, fears, and worries that people sometimes have. And as part of this, before we get into the main things, I just wanted to say to anyone who would like to, we've got a free download on this, which you're welcome to download, which is a 30-step guide that walks you through some of the things that you need to do to make a career change. So without further ado, let's start with the key things that you need to have in place if you're looking at a career change. Well, the first thing, and this might to some of you sound very obvious, is to ask yourself the question, is it a career change or is it a job change? Because they're two very different things. I know what it is like, and many of you will know what it's like to wake up on a Monday morning and think, I really don't want to go to work today. And that's absolutely fine. But why don't you want to go to work? Is it because you don't like your boss? Is it because you're not finding the job challenging? Maybe there's too much office politics. Perhaps you're working with people that you don't enjoy working with. There'll be all sorts of reasons why you don't enjoy and don't want to do the job that you're doing. And that's absolutely fine. But that is a very different thing to changing careers. And so the first thing that you really need to be crystal clear on is it a job change or is it a career change? A career change involves making a complete shift from what you're doing now to something different. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to start from scratch, but it does mean that you will be doing something that will call on maybe a different set of skills. It might bring with it, and hopefully it will bring with it some of your transferable skills, but it will certainly mean looking at some other skills that you don't have at the moment. And how do you acquire those skills? What are the gaps in your knowledge, in your experience, in your qualifications? What are they and how do you fill them? And so that's one of the first things you really have to be very clear about, because unless you're clear about what those changes are and whether it's a job change where you're simply going to brush up on your CV and look for a job, another job, or whether you're going to start a whole new career, that has to be really clear in your mind before you start on your journey. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is really important that you have to understand is knowing what your strengths are. Now, for some of us, one of the reasons we want to make a career change is because we have certain strengths or certain things that we are good at and we enjoy, but there might be other things in your job that you don't enjoy. Or you might be in a job where you don't have the opportunity to share and use some of your really key skills. So understanding what those skills are is really important, because once you understand what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your abilities are, it will help you in determining what kind of role you might want to go into. And it will help you also determine whether your path is the same path that you're already going down, but just in a different organization, whether your path is to go down a completely different job, or whether your path is to start a completely different career, which could, for some of us, mean becoming self-employed, which is something that is a huge step, is a huge undertaking. It has and brings with it certain challenges that are very different to the ones that you face when you're working in a 9-to-5. And they're not insurmountable challenges, but nevertheless, they're things that you need to be aware of. So for all of us, it's really about understanding what are the things that we really want to do, and what are the strengths, what do we bring to those roles or those opportunities that we want to explore. And once you're very clear on that, it will help you when it comes to understanding what a successful career change will look like for you. The third thing that is really important to think about when you may be really successful with your career change is to understand where you need help. Now, I talk to people who are looking at making a career change all the time, and some of them say things like, well, I don't see that I need someone to help me. I simply have to brush up on my CV, update my LinkedIn profile, and I can find a job online. And for some people, that's absolutely true. And I think that's correct. If that is, you do have that confidence, you do have that clarity. But for a lot of people, and certainly the people that I work with, for a lot of people, it's that lack of clarity that means that it's really important to have that guidance and that support. And that guidance and support can come either in the form of a mentor, or it might be that you need to have somebody who you go to, a career coach, a specialist, who helps you make that change and identifies that breakthrough for you. And that's where you might need some help if you're not clear. A lot of the people that I work with, the reason I work with them is because they have that lack of clarity. And I say this from a position of personal experience. So if I can use myself as an example, I was made redundant in 2009. And for me, it was perhaps one of the most difficult and challenging experiences of my life. I thought at the time I was in my dream job. I loved it. I loved what I was doing. Unfortunately, I was made redundant. And in a way, it was a good thing, because what it made me do is it made me sit back and question, is this something that I really want to do? Do I really want to continue to do a 9-to-5? Do I really want to continue to work in the same kind of organization? Do I really want to wake up every day and battle my way through office politics and all the other challenges that go with it? Is that something that I really want to do? And it made me stop and ask myself those questions, because when you're in a job and you're going in and you've got your 9-to-5, a lot of the time you never stop to ask yourself these questions. It almost becomes routine, it becomes mechanical. We go in, we do our job, we love what we do, but we never stop and think, actually, is this something that's giving me fulfillment? I mean, if you love what you do and it is giving you fulfillment, then clearly you're on the right path. But for some of us, we do it more out of habit, not for pleasure, not for enjoyment, and certainly not for fulfillment. And so having that break, it allowed me to really stop and ask myself the question. The difficulty for me was that, yes, I asked the question, but what I didn't have was the answer. I knew that I didn't want to do what I was doing, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that journey to going from where I was as a HR consultant to transitioning to a career coach took years. It really did take me years. And the reason it took so long was because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I didn't want to do what I was doing. I knew that I wanted something that would be fulfilling, that I would enjoy. And I also knew that I wanted something where I wasn't starting at the bottom, I wanted something that would draw on a lot of my skills. And also, one of the things that was really important was being able to do something that I felt confident doing. If any of you have ever been made redundant, you'll understand it's a very traumatic experience. It knocks your confidence. It makes you question your own abilities. It makes you question your strengths, what you're capable of doing, and it really can throw your whole world upside down. And along with all of these different things that are going on in your mind, you're also asking yourself the question, I've got a day job that I have to earn money. I've got bills to pay. I've got people depending on me. I've got all these other things going on. Is it indulgent for me to think about making a career change? And for some of us, that will be the thing that will drive us into saying, well, we'll do more of the same. We'll continue to do what we are doing because it's safe. It's not enjoyable, but it's safe. But for people who really feel the time has come and they want to make that change and they're willing to put the work in, my advice would be, if you do not have that clarity, if you do not have that confidence, if you do not know what it is that you really want to do and how you're going to go about doing that, then it's really important that you find somebody. It doesn't have to be a career coach, although that would obviously be my first piece of advice, because career coaches, it's what they do and how we can support you. But even if you feel I'm not ready to work with a career coach, find a mentor, find somebody that you know on a professional level who can help you unpick some of the things that maybe are going through your mind. Perhaps you've always thought about doing a particular career, but you're not sure how to get into that particular platform. Talking to somebody who is experienced and who has done that kind of work before might be a useful way of getting you to the place where you're starting to understand what it really means to be in a different career, what some of the challenges are, what some of the skills gaps are, what some of the things that you perhaps need to work on to fix, so that you have got all the skills, all the experience, and all the knowledge that you need to make that change. So that might be some of the things that you need to think about. And it will be different for all of us. We are all on a different journey. But the thing that's really important is having clarity. So I just want to recap on the 3 things that are the things that you really need to have in place if you're thinking about making a career change. The first one is being very clear that it is a career change and not a job change, because, as I said before, the process is different. So if it's a career change, that requires a journey. It requires a whole set of analysis around what it is that you want to do and how you're going to get there. Whereas a job change is simply applying for jobs in the same sector, in the same field. And what's required there is perhaps maybe updating your CV, updating your LinkedIn profile. The second thing is knowing what your knowledge and skills are. What do you bring to an organization or to any career that you want to go into? What are your strengths? Understanding them and being confident at being able to articulate them to a future employer or to somebody who you want to do business with. That's the second thing. And the third thing that's really important is that you test drive your thoughts and your ideas with either a career coach or a mentor. Somebody who is there and can be that critical friend and advise you, guide you, and give you the clarity that you need in order to make that shift from where you are now to where you want to get to. So those are the 3 things that I think are really critical to have in place before you begin on your journey to a career change. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you found everything that we've gone through useful, and it helps you in identifying your next step. So what I would like to do is invite you to join my group is to join my group. I'm just going to leave the link in the comments box below there. So Career Changers Over 40, where you will meet other people who are experiencing the same journey, the same challenges, and who are looking to move forward in their career. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.